Welcome everyone to Visionary Psychics. I'm Sara Wiseman, and today we're with one of our visionary psychics, Anne Howard. Welcome, Anne.
Thank
Nice,
you.
nice to have you with us. And Anne comes from northwest of the U.S., and she's been a very long time as a psychiatric RN, and now is turning her super developed gifts as a channel, medium, clairaudient, and clairsentient. And it's always so fascinating when people have such deep experience in other fields, and then they come to this work. And yet your work is sort of like they kind of edge up to each other. They're really in this same area of human development or health and wellness. And I'm just curious as to when all of this intuitive stuff started coming forward for you. When did that happen and what was that like?
Well, yes, it's true. I have been in the medical field, psychiatric nurse for many years, 30 years. And it wasn't until I'm now retired for 8 years, I guess. And it wasn't until the last part of my professional career that I really started to accept, I guess, and acknowledge the fact that I had some intuitive gifts that enabled me to do that work maybe easier than some of my cohorts. And I was able to sense um, problems and bottom lines with people that others really didn't get to. And the more that I use those abilities, I guess, to work with people, um, the more I felt that this was the area that I really should be focusing on, and that it was really almost impossible to do that within the parameters of the medical profession. And so I retired from nursing, and I had a couple of wild experiences that I won't go into here, but I just became much more aware of the spiritual world around me and the things that happened around me, the synchronicities that were just too incredible to ignore. And that's when I guess I began um, to start to really accept what I could see, but also to understand that it was here for everyone, not just me, and that I really wanted to try to develop my abilities and see what I could do and help others in that way. And that's what I've done through your classes.
Hmm. It's interesting because it's not that other fields, medicine or psychology or whatever, it's sort of like that's football and we're playing basketball, and it's fine to play football,
Right.
and like we're not really playing basketball. but but that idea, like, it's there's nothing, that's just a system, but there's no room for this because that's not part of that system.
Right. And also I would say that that all of that experience and all of those skills that I learned in that field are very helpful to me in staying in my own lane, so to speak, and
Mhm.
really learning to zero in on the people that I work with
Yeah,
rather than confusing their specific situation with any big paradigm that might be out there.
right,
Each one
right.
is unique and individual.
Yes, absolutely. When you talk about, so I know a lot of my uh, awakening came from kind of it's like a near-death experience light is sort of what I had, but back in 2000, when you talk about these big experiences, is there any one thing that you would like to share that just kind of, whoa, that can't be explained away, like it allowed your trust to come forward?
Right. I guess I saw what I saw unfolding in front of my eyes was not something that I had ever experienced before. And at first I was very frightened by it and searched for a way to really explain it. And in so doing, I became aware of the fact that I was able to see things maybe at times that others didn't recognize for what they were. And as that went on, I think I got to a point where I was afraid, and I had to really dig deep inside myself for answers. And it took a while, but I was able to get to that point. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of it had to do with the fact that I had all kinds of advice, comfort, and uh, explanation coming at me from the spiritual realm that was very reassuring.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I think that's similar to me when my own beginning of this journey. It's like there was no vocabulary, there was no, or there was, but it all just seemed like kind of not, it didn't apply, or it wasn't what I was looking for. And so kind of that step of beginning to journey on your own and beginning to explore and see, like, what is this about, and what is the spirit world with the departed, or what is the spirit world with the guides, and so forth. And just to
Exactly.
just to like journey it yourself and see what it is
It's
for you.
That's so true. And the medical profession is very black and white. Things are very analytical, you
Hmm.
know, 2 + 2 = 4.
Hmm.
And in this area of spiritual understanding and awareness, it's not it is not that way at all.
Yeah.
And science, one thing I learned, science does not have all the answers, but that they work in tandem.
Yes.
And I think many of our most esteemed scientific people from way back, Einstein, all those people, um, remarked on the fact that there is more there than
Yeah.
science can explain.
Well, it's like science is what we have at this point, so we should use what we have, and then especially all the things what we have developed as a people, or different multiple cultures on the planet. This is what we have, and then
Right.
this work is so, the spiritual and psychic work is so subtle and so non-linear. Like you were saying, 2 + 2 = 4 in linear world. In spiritual world, 2 + 2 = they're like, what's a two? What 2
Exactly.
+ 2 = infinity, so it's like we're asking, you have to ask different questions, because the answers are
Yes.
it's like multiple choice versus an essay question. Spiritual world is an essay question type answer. So,
Very
right
true.
brain, yeah. Um, as you decided, when you're approaching you're deciding to retire and going into this field, what have you noticed? Just taking that step, or working with people, what kinds of things are you noticing that the world is going through in terms of the viewpoint that you're seeing from where you sit?
Just overwhelm. And I
Mhm.
think that it comes from all different aspects of, this lifetime we're all living. And one thing that is just really ringing true for me across the board with people is that it's important to understand that we are on a journey, and each of our journeys are different. And we come together, and we then move apart, and we come together in another way with another person in our life, a friend, a lover, a teacher, and we move apart. And I've been listening to and reading some of the writings of Anita Morjani. I don't know if you're familiar with her or not, but she had a death experience actually and was revived and came back. But I love her description of this life, this journey we're on. She describes it as a tapestry. She said, when I was on the other side and asked to see my life, they had me step back and I looked at it and I saw this beautiful tapestry. And, you know, that life was one thread. And
Mhm.
I had many threads, and then there were many intersecting threads of beautiful different colors.
Mhm.
And they were all of the different other souls that I had intersected with, and how we had deeply affected each other's lives. But you know, we were part of this big, beautiful tapestry. And I do
Mhm.
think about that quite often. But I realizing also that we are each kind of in our own lane, and
Yeah.
we're all moving on the same trajectory forward because we're all one,
Yeah.
and we're all going to end up the same as part of the same whole at some point in time. But right now in this lifetime, I'm trying to help others understand that staying in their lane is what it will allow them to continue to remain in the flow and move forward, and to not be stalled out um, or stymied
Mhm.
by the intersections they might have with others in their lives that are troublesome or worrisome. Those people, and I think also that that moving forward like that is just synonymous with connection, because we
Mhm.
are all connected at the end, and so we are all moving, and that's I guess that comes through that theme over and over with a lot of different situations people might be struggling with
Yeah.
in their lives.
I love that idea. It gives people a visual, especially when things are when the challenging thread crosses your thread. You're like, oh, why? Why do I have to have this thread facing me? You know, whether it's a boss
Yes,
or a person or a situation.
but
Um,
it's okay.
yeah, and kind of trusting. Like I focus on this idea of I understand that we're all one. We're not just connected. We're in essence the same essence.
Yes,
Um, and so our ultimate goal is to note, is to just fully note, just to fully know that as souls. And yeah, and then when the world stuff hits us, that gives a, or they're using the tapestry or the oneness, or they're kind of the same idea differently expressed. It really gives us a way to relax and not feel that anything is insurmountable. Well, when you've done work with past lives, how do you tie this into what people are going through in this life? If this idea, like, we're in this tapestry, but the tapestry is not just this lifetime,
I,
how does that come up for you, or how do you think about that?
I think about it as I have had, you know, I really believe that I've had many, many past lifetimes. And whatever my job was to learn, my lesson in that lifetime has carried over in some way, and then each lifetime builds upon that lesson.
Mhm.
So excuse me, I have a timer. Whoa.
maybe,
But I think that it has,
maybe
maybe
you were
that was a message.
you were a train
Yes.
conductor in a past life who
Yes,
had to
I
always.
think so. But I do think that it has spilled over. And you know, I came into this lifetime in the earlier years, and really up until the last, I consider myself to probably be in the last fourth of my life because I'm approaching 70. But I think it's been just in the last 10 years that I've really been able to overcome fear. I had so
Yeah.
much fear, and I'm sure that that was one of my primary lessons that I had to learn. You know, fear that I couldn't stand on my own, fear that I needed someone else to help me get through life, and just fear, fear, fear,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and it's just gone. It's over now. I feel like I have passed that, and now I'm working on something else.
Yeah.
So, it's helpful to think of lifetimes, I think, in that way, and that this lifetime will hopefully open me into the next one with hopefully taking some of the insight I've learned. It's been hard earned to
Yeah,
get it.
absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
I've heard the phrase, we spend like up till our 40s trying to amass experiences and people and stuff, and then 40 or 50 after, we're just trying to shed all the extra
Oh,
and just
yes.
get to our essence. So, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
with you there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's lovely to have known what we've experienced and to know that we can choose going forward to the remainder of this lifetime to do things from this place of understanding oneness and so forth. Yeah. Well, I think we're pretty much about our end today, but I will place the information and for people to find you below. And I just want to say I sure appreciate your time, and I'm glad to know you. And thank you so much for
Thank you, Sarah,
participating.
for everything, for all
Yeah.
of your wonderful instruction.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you. Bye
Thanks
bye.
very much. Bye.